right at you guys again with another flow, another show. And I got AOC.
We coming at y'all, man.
Come on with it.
Y'all out of pocket, man. We coming at y'all today, man. Last time me and Law was on the other side of the fence from each other. This time, man, we got to bring y'all in the principal's office and tell y'all what y'all doing wrong at this point before we suspend y'all. Because this is out of control, bro.
Come on with it.
What's happening, Law? What is happening, my brother? How was first of all, before we get into this is the Monday show. How was your weekend, my brother?
Man, weekend, every team that I rooted for, they caught the L. It was a loss. You know what I'm saying? I just blame me.
Bro, I felt like I was watching a fever nightmare, watching the end of that damn Philadelphia Eagles game, bro. And they said, fly, Eagles, fly. Bro, it was the worst. It was so surreal. I'm just sitting there like, bro, this is really happening.
Man.
We really having to watch both NFC East teams make it to the NFC Championship game. This is really happening right now.
Can't take this no more.
Bro, and as if that wasn't bad enough, then we get on the socials and on the internet, and the fans turning on Dak. For no reason, Law. Y'all killing me with this.
They killing me, man.
That's how I feel, bro.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God. People I actually got some respect for, man. I'm seeing them turning on Dak. I'm like, bro, y'all supposed to be better than this, man.
Put it like this. The craziest thing of it all, and shout out to Jayden Daniels, great game that he had against the Lions, and that made a lot of people turn on your boy Ben Johnson. But we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. But he still had a running back to average 5.4 yards per tote. Don't you know that it knocked the vision off of your face? Because this is the thing right here. This is the thing. It messed the camera up. It messed the camera up because he had a running back to average 5.4 yards per tote, and Saquon Barkley averaged damn near 8 yards per tote. Didn't you know that your quarterback or our quarterback is undefeated when they have a running back to average 5 or more yards per tote? So
what? Say that again, bro.
Didn't or don't y'all know that our quarterback is undefeated in the postseason when you have your running backs averaging more than 5 yards per tote?
Imagine that.
Now, shout out to Jayden Daniels. He did make some good throws and these sorts of things. But let's not be foolish because they still was able to average over 5 yards per tote. And don't even get me to talk about Saquon Barkley when their particular quarterback, he can't even hit water if he fell off a boat. He couldn't even hit the snow. And he was the only damn quarterback out there that didn't have snow on him, you know?
Literally, bro. Literally. And then he was off a perk because I don't know if you heard about the game, bro. That man wasn't even on the same field as everybody else. I ain't never heard Jalen Hurts that loose with it.
Well, I don't know if it'll snow next week, but rain, sleet, or snow, Eagles train to go. We'll be ready to go. I love playing football. How about that? I used to put it on when we played a video game as a kid. I put the snow on 100 and all that, but that was as a kid.
But back to the Dak thing, bro.
Back to it.
I just don't understand how people can all season long come to the conclusion that it's Jerry. Jerry is the one that's getting in the way of all of this. Jerry, Steven, Jerry. You can do that all season long. And then when something happens that challenges your, I don't even know how to say it, I guess challenges your sports ego or sports toughness. When something happens, man, the first thing you have to do is just unleash on the closest thing to you, which is Dak Prescott.
Right.
And I just don't understand it, bro. When you look at it, Dak had the same, if not a better season than Jayden Daniels his rookie year.
Fact.
Dak had the same amount of success in the playoffs outside of actually making it to the NFC Championship game because he did his part, though. He did his part.
He did what he supposed to do.
He went toe-to-toe with prime Aaron Rodgers, y'all. Toe-to-toe with that man. Had his team in position to where he could have possibly won that game. And what happened? The defense. The defense. You give up the long pass to Jermichael Finley on the sideline, and then all of a sudden Mason crossbar. 60-yarder. 60-yarder. So how easily we forget. We can sit there and look at Jayden Daniels and be prisoners of the moment because we're living in this moment right now. But we felt the same way about Dak as everyone's talking about Jayden Daniels right now in 2016.
Yeah, and to be like 1,000, Jayden Daniels was a first-round draft pick. Dak Prescott was the fourth. So, and I'm not going to make this about Dak versus all of the quarterbacks that's in the National Football League because we get it. CBS, Fox, all of the people utilize and use the shortcomings of him opposed to Herbert. It don't look cute when they put Herbert. Herbert was a first-round draft pick, you know. Right. They don't use that. Like how many?
He threw 4 picks, bro. Where's that coverage on Herbert, bro?
They don't use that. and shout out to Lamar Jackson with all of the things that he's able to exhibit. But he got one more playoff win than Dak Prescott, and he's been a first-round talent quarterback. But I'm not finna go into that, you know. But it goes to show you that, you know, people utilize clicks for baits and these sorts of things, and it's crazy. But, you know, in order for us to get over all of this, we just got to win and find the winning formula for the quarterback because evidently he ain't going nowhere. So y'all got to be team Dak or go back somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, y'all can feel how y'all want to feel. Right. You can say, oh, he got one more year, then I'm done with him. Brother, you ain't the one cutting checks, man. He going to be here regardless. So y'all can be mad all you want. Here we go.
Yeah, he gonna be here. Yeah. And the whole time y'all talking about him, he gonna do just like this. Yup.
Hey, now he gonna be drinking all the waters. He got about 5 waters lined up like he had to move, man. Yep, keep talking. I don't care. Bruh, speaking of finding the right recipe for the front office, that to me is the difference. That's the difference between how you're looking at Dak now versus how you could have been looking at Dak. Is if he had an actual front office that added to what was around him. Like you were saying, if you add to what's around Dak Prescott when you have the opportunity, then who knows what we're looking at as far as a career trajectory, because they didn't do anything but what they start doing?
Subtracting, you know, they subtract. Let's see, that was literally a movement. Let's see what Dak Prescott can do without his offensive line. Let's see what that was the narrative. Let's see what Dak Prescott can do without Ezekiel Elliott. Let's see what he can manage to do without a Dez Bryant who was choking this and that. With Allen Hurns and wide receiver by committee and these sorts, man. And at the time, people failed to realize that there was a Rico Gathers right hand to the man that was making more money than Dak Prescott. So when people start getting into the money aspect and doing this and that, look, like this is what's the craziest conversation, and you did a video, it's viral by the way. It's viral. When Parsons and Dez Bryant is going at it, talking about changing the culture. How would Dez would have been able to change the culture when he's immediately painted as the villain? Who's going to listen to the bad guy on the sideline for spitting the truth? So we got all of those things in the mix.
I feel like I'm being attacked.
Whoa.
I said something stupid yesterday.
What you say?
I said that Dez didn't actually go against the grain for real. And I was like, as soon as I pushed upload, I was like, damn, they about to tear my ass up, because Dez that was most definitely one of the reasons that he fell out of favor here.
Yeah. Because you had so many evidence, Attack. Fix this shit, Rich. You know, you remember that?
My bad, audience. Everybody that saw that video, everybody watching now, my bad.
But here's the thing, though. One of the things that, and I know we're talking about just subtraction, and I'm moving off from that, but we got to go down memory lane.
No, we have to.
Dez, to me, he's talking better now. But he wasn't a good communicator when he was playing in the league. He was like, come on, get the words out, man. Come on with this, man. What are you saying? Yeah. But he was trying to say the same thing T.O. was saying about the way the structures is and how these favoritism as plays and all of this stuff. Now, we fast forwarding now. Every single coach that the Cowboys hire, they keep a piece of who they want from within. So whoever's going to be the new coach, we still going to have some of the things that flowed from last season, the season for that, and the season for that. They never exile everything. So on his coach, excuse me, on his coaching search, shit, what happened to my boy?
Y'all heard a lot of real voices then. Breaking news.
Hey, breaking news. I'm really, I really got a soft voice.
He really a tenor.
I went tenor on that one. Boy, I'm losing. Let me get some of my fun juice, man. But what I'm saying is, my bro, is that whoever's going to be the coach, they got to understand that Dak Prescott flourished the best when you have run game and you can develop the play action. I get it. He can't throw the ball all over the field, but I need for him to have run game.
Well, I'm perfectly fine with Dak Prescott being a game manager if it means we get to have a Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, the offensive line that you have, the Landon Johnsons, the Jordan Mailatas, and all the other people. I'm perfectly fine with calling Dak a game manager if that means that we get to play with that type of help.
Yeah.
Please, give me game manager Dak if he comes with those toys, bro. Straight up, because Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts, this is nuts, man. With the Eagles and the Commanders have done, they've shown the Joneses. They've shown the Joneses exactly how you can do this. Both organizations in slightly different ways. The Commanders went out and completely turned over everything. They brought in a ton of free agents. They brought in a completely new coaching staff. A bunch of Cowboys, by the way. But they brought in a completely new coaching staff. They drafted a quarterback. I need people to get up off of this because you've seen Jayden Daniels get drafted to the Commanders and have some success. You got to get off of, oh man, it's time for the Cowboys to go ahead and go to a younger, newer quarterback. Brother, Washington didn't go from one franchise quarterback to Jayden Daniels. They went from not having a quarterback at all to finally getting one. That's the difference. We have a quarterback already. Don't create a problem for yourself that isn't one, man. That's crazy to me. But Washington did this, bro. They showed that you can actually have a crazy turnaround in a matter of one off season. As long as you let the coaches coach, as long as you let the players that you put on the field play that should be playing. And that's what Jerry them need to be paying attention to, bro. This has to be the biggest indication to Jerry that, hey, I need to do something. This NFC Championship game might be the best blessing the Cowboys fans can ask for. I know it hurts right now, y'all. I know it hurts right now. But this may be the best blessing because something tells me that Jerry's billion-dollar ego is just sitting up in Frisco somewhere boiling. He's boiling right now, man.
And the problem is that I would have, if I was the owner, I would have started making changes back in 2017 when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right? And then I for dog sure would have been making changes after I've seen what the 49ers were able to do to go to the Super Bowl. Ultimately, you know, Pat Mahomes been saving our backsides because Pat Mahomes is a real Cowboy fan, y'all. Because think about it. If it wasn't for him, the 49ers would have won. You know what I'm saying? Won. And then the Eagles would have won one, and the 49ers would have won another one. So, shout out to Pat Mahomes.
Fan too. He's a Cowboys fan.
True.
To the NFL, so.
Yeah. So all I can say is he's my last hope for because I'm AFC Law right now. Look, no, AFC Law. you got to be attacked
off my chest. It's a cheap tomahawk over here right now.
And you attack on the AFC. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't have none of this. We can't have Washington or the Eagles, but the Cowboys got to understand that Jerry. Look at what Magic Johnson said. He's all positive about it, by the way. No shade upon anything that's in him. But I'm just saying that he's all positive about the way that he's able.
The joke finally landed, Law. Hey, that bug came into the that bug came in the land late, but it finally.
Oh my God.
Oh shit.
Oh man, that boy hit you about 2 days later. You're like, oh man. But I'm just saying, the way he said that they assemble stuff and they step back and they allow the coaches to do the coaches thing. Without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, I think that Mike McCarthy, I do fall in line with Troy Aikman. I think that he was a brilliant coach here. But will he be able to get the reins? No. So whoever we get, can we allow them to set out the table so that these boys can eat? These are our core pieces. CeeDee Lamb, nice wide receiver. Dak Prescott, a nice all-pro quarterback. Now we just got to find a running back to match. You know, we got
Ashton Jeanty.
We got the shirt and shoes. We got the shirt and pants. We didn't need the shoes, bro.
Bro, if watching the divisional round games didn't make everybody get on the Ashton Jeanty train, I don't know what will, bro. I don't know what will.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very clear that that's where the Cowboys need to go. But go ahead, Lord.
But you get this. Let me go to my other real voice. But Lord, he played for Boise State, Lord. He's no good, Lord. Ashton Jeanty, he reminds me of Melvin. What's his name, Gordon? And I every time I be sitting there like, did you see what did y'all see what Melvin Gordon had to run behind?
Not for real though.
That offensive line, come on, man.
Them big corn-fed boys up there, man. Them big corn-fed boys.
It's so simple, but it's complex when you have the Joneses.
Yeah. Do you think that any of this stuff is going to encourage any type of change of course, any type of added aggression, do you think this is going to add anything to what the Joneses are doing, seeing these two teams, and especially if one of them going to win a championship, especially if Dan Quinn. I think we got to talk about the Dan Quinn aspect of this.
What do sabotage? Let me ask you this. What do sabotage mean to you?
Dan Quinn. The Dan Quinn Green Bay 2023, 2024. That's what sabotage means to me.
Now let us two set the record straight, okay? That doesn't mean that he was a terrible coach. When you sabotage something, meaning that you do have the skill set, you do have the knowledge, you do have the capabilities, but you are not doing what you're supposed to do. It's like having a kid and you know what they're capable of and they bring in home bad grades and you sitting there like, what are you doing? Because they came out with a complete different game plan. The Green Bay Packers scored on their first 6 or 7 drives, and we supposed to win with that? What they expecting for us to go blow for blow when we are a one-dimensional team at that time? Because who else? Like, for the life of me, who else was standing up in that game?
I don't know who could have went toe-to-toe with anybody in that kind of situation. I really don't. Not with the weapons available, not with the circumstances, not with the game plans the players had to play with. That's what people don't understand. That's why it frustrates me when we jump right to quarterback, bro.
Right.
Anytime people instantly jump to the quarterback when they're talking about football, I automatically start looking at you with one eyebrow up because I'm like, all right, let me see if you know what you're talking about. Because if you just start instantly talking about the quarterback as end-all, be-all to all problems and solutions, it's no use to having a dialogue. It's no use to having that dialogue at that point because people are going to feel how they want to feel, Law.
They will, man. And I hate pulling this up, but, you know, Dan Quinn, he's a motivator. He's a communicator. And for him not being way up there on the press box, seeing him on the sideline, being able to pat people on the backs hugging the players, looking them in the eye. I'm saying, why we didn't have that shit here?
Why didn't you do that here, man? Because Mike McCarthy was too insecure to have Dan Quinn on the sideline.
Break that dynamic down.
That's why.
Get your butt up there while I do the silent. This is my area. Exactly. Is that what's going? That happened?
Exactly. We heard about Mike McCarthy being supposedly insecure about the fact that you had Dan Quinn, somebody who was very prepared to take over as a head coach for any team. You had someone like Dan Quinn standing behind you in the shadows for 3 years, with it being known that a Stephen Jones, that's his primo choice. That's who he wanted. With it being known that the players probably love him and want to play for him harder than they probably want to play for Mike, if we're being honest. With it being known that he has a more dynamic personality and that charisma is out the bill. You see, Law, charisma and personality, and I know a little bit of something about this.
Yeah.
Charisma and personality scares people. And it scares insecure people the most.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarthy and the way he moved and some of the stuff that started coming out, and I'm not believing any and everything because everybody got their own spin to it.
Right.
When you put what you experience as a fan and your own reality with some of the context that's been put out now, it actually makes a whole lot of sense as far as what we were seeing with these guys. And I'm gonna tell you, Law, I think Dan Quinn was neutered by not only the situation the Joneses put him in. I don't think the Joneses neutered him. I think the Joneses were prepared to let Dan Quinn do what Dan Quinn needed to do for the most part. I think he was more so neutered by Mike McCarthy. Who's to say when Dan Quinn told the Joneses, hey, we need better linebackers? Who's to say that Mike McCarthy didn't backdoor and be like, nah, we actually need this on this side of the ball. Don't worry about it. So you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you have that type of conflict and you got multiple guys who have a direct line of communication to the ownership and multiple guys who the ownership is willing to take information from and actually put it in action, sometimes those wires get crossed. And I feel like a lot of what we saw here was two coaches almost keeping each other from being successful. And then the wheels fell off this season. The wheels completely fell off this season because now it was all about Mike McCarthy and the willingness of the players to believe in his plan of action.
Right.
And I just don't know if that happened this year. Man,
and it was so difficult knowing that, man, you only have a contract for 2025, 2026. Yep. I'm here for 2028. Man, F coach, and that could be a situation.
Especially if you already got players feeling the way. Yeah. Like they reported about the Amari thing and then Mike walking around acting like he didn't know it was going to happen, but guys feeling like, bro, you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
man, that's wild. And there's so many loose ends with this organization. Just like when it was a year when Kellen Moore was here and he was saying, I don't like stop routes. I don't like these option routes. And every team runs them, of course. But to see this continuously to happen and the whole notion of you install it, you call it. Like, I want us to be a team. And we wasn't a team because if you see the kitchen on fire, regardless of who cooking, you're going to go out there and put the fire out. And Mike McCarthy didn't do that, and that goes against these situations. So that's why it was self-preservation when we went into those playoff games. It looks like we didn't or we were not prepared because coaches were already thinking, where can I find my next job? Where can I go to get from under this chaos? And that's how we played. It was just no motivation factor. That's why I want a coach that can come in here, own the room, understand that Jerry gonna meddle, but they still have what you just said earlier, that charisma, that charm, that supersedes all of that, and they can get things going for the 2025 season.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Now, let's move it along a little bit. I know we want to talk about something I know everybody's ready to talk about, and like we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. Law, when is enough enough? When is it time to bring the cows home? When is it time to ring that chow bell and tell everybody to come get some food? Come on, come get in the house. The street light's about to catch you. When is it time to let Dak Prescott era go? When is it time to move on and get another quarterback? And is Jayden Daniels and Jalen Hurts and success that they're having with their respective organizations, does that influence your decision at all of when it's time to do that?
Man, you could be searching for 10 to 15 years, 20 years. Some can say 30 years for that quarterback, for that one. Now, there's a scout in saying that said if you've seen it once, you can see it again. I know what it takes in order for this quarterback to be great. I don't think that the Joneses understand this. But even coming off of college, we knew that he was a play-action quarterback that can play some read options and things like that. His comp was like a Russell Wilson. He was a bigger version of that in between that and Cam Newton. Well, you got to have for Dak Prescott a run game. He's prolific when you have those things. See, people fail to realize, I'm going back to this thing when we lost in the postseason. Every game that we lost, we had the running back averaging less than 5 yards outside of this past game of Green Bay when we were just running the ball at the end for some strange reason. We were getting some yards that they allowed. But if you guys go back and look at all the games we lost and look at the games we won, you got to have the ability to run the ball. And it is easier to insert run game opposed to just saying, okay, Dak, do it all by yourself. And I challenge anyone, and I will listen to you guys, and I'll read your comments. If you can find, and I think we've been to 7 playoff games, bro. If you can find me, yeah. If you can find me outside of the games we won, who else stood up in those games outside of 4? Let me know, offensively and defensively. And I'm going to throw this out. In the last 7 playoff games, we only had 3 turnovers on defense. That's the only things we forced. That's a sad number to have. And the sad levels of the expectations for us to win it all, I think it will be easier. You already got the quarterback for $250 million. Insert run game and built this defense up better. And it's a whole lot easier than trying to go out there and find another quarterback.
100%. And I agree with everything you said. And I'm going to get to my plan of action. I'm actually going to lay it out as far as what I would do to usher us into the next era. But what you just said was so on point, and people need to kind of circle back to that. If you look across the playoffs, not only this year, not only Dak's playoff history, but if you actually watch the playoffs, it's 2 things that are very, very clear. The team that runs the ball the best and the team that turns the ball over is usually the teams that wins.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look across the games. The Detroit Lions game, they were a massive favorite over the Commanders. What happened? The Commanders turned Jared Goff over 3 times. They ran that mug. Brian Robinson and Jayden Daniels was peppering them with them runs down the way until they started opening up that defense, bringing them closer to that line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden you got these big plays happening. Yeah. Right? Same thing with the Eagles and the Rams game. The difference in that game was the turnovers. Yeah. That was the difference. Honestly, that was the difference in that game. You look at the Ravens and the Bills. The difference in the game was the turnovers. Yeah. And Mark Andrews dropping the ball when they could have tied it up. Yeah. But they might not even been in that situation
if it wasn't for the turnovers. Yeah, because he dropped several before that time frame. And if anybody, I can't stand the Bills. Boy, I love losing Super Bowl. But we owned them anyway, right? When we went to the Super Bowl. But if anybody can be a telltale sign of what coaches matter, Joe Brady. Joe Brady. Don't y'all know that Josh Allen was a turnover machine?
Oh, my goodness, man.
Look what he did to that kid.
Miracles.
No, yeah.
Joe Brady was putting prayer hands on Josh Allen. And before every game, he putting the prayer hands on Josh Allen because, my goodness, bro. There every now and then, you know, when you watch football or you watching it like the correct way, and you really are actually seeing the strategy behind what's going on the field, Joe Brady has absolutely impressed me. And Ben Johnson, I wanted to get into this because you brought this up.
Okay, break it down.
Because he could potentially be in the play. You know, more than likely the Raiders, but he could potentially be in the play. Ben Johnson, if y'all took that game that the Lions played against the Commanders and you used the 2 or 3 plays that probably were a little bit out of place to say that he's a less than offensive coordinator or head coaching candidate than what he was before that game was played, you are out of your cotton picking mind.
I got you right here.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
How is it that people thought that the best opportunity to pile onto a Ben Johnson and try to poo-poo that Ben Johnson? Because what this is, Laws, there's people that have made a take about Ben Johnson, and now they're looking for information to reinforce that bad take. Yeah. That's what's happening. There's people trying to convince folks that Ben Johnson won't be a good head coach, that Ben Johnson shouldn't be in Dallas. His offensive court, he's overrated. He's only doing great because of all the weapons. There's people saying that. But then you sit there and watch that game, and you see how much Jared Goff has been getting carried by that scheme. You see Ben Johnson still got his team to score 30-plus points after turning the ball over 3 times. 2 of the times in the red zone. You see Ben Johnson still had that team running like a well-oiled machine, regardless if you agree with every single play call or not. You're not going to agree with every single play call caller does. There's not going to be a single time you're watching a game you're like, I agree with everything he just did in this game. There's not. So all the Monday morning quarterbacking and the Twitter scouts and all that stuff, bro, we got to calm down with how we're looking at everything from the quarterbacks like Dak and Jayden to the coaches to people. Just got to calm down, take your emotions out of this and bring the facts back into the situation, because the facts are the Lions were playing well enough on offense to win that game. The defenses would let them down. Cliff Kingsbury had an amazing game plan for how to attack that defense, and they did it, and they didn't have enough guns to keep up.
They didn't. Comes down to
and
they're scrambling and scraping.
Man, Lobby slick with these add-ins, bro.
I know, but here's the thing, though. With Ben Johnson, He'll be a first-time head coach, so there will be a little green area there.
We act like that's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing.
Okay,
First-time
okay.
head coach. It's not a bad thing. The only knock that I had in that game is that, Roll Tide Jahmyr Gibbs was averaging 7. Look, Cowboy fan, that brother was averaging 7.5. Y'all heard the stats that I gave out earlier, about Dak when you had the running back averaging that much, But 7.5 yards per toe. And he only had 3 touches in the second half. Break that down for the audience, because I know you probably watched the game very closely. What happened? Why they went away from Gibbs? Because this damn dude was turning the ball over, and I'm talking about golf, looking like he was trying to play golf. You know what I'm saying? Come on, talk to me.
Sometimes I feel like I watch teams try to catch up to their game plan.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain what I mean by
that. Good stuff.
When you first go into a game, you have a game plan laid out, how you want to attack the opposing team, how you want to employ your offense, how you're going to keep the game balanced so it benefits both sides of the ball in your favor, right? Then when the game starts and stuff starts to happen, you have to adjust how you're approaching your game plan a little bit. And sometimes when the score gets a little bit further than you would like it to be, a little bit stretched out than you would like it to be, you start to see everyone involved press a little bit. We saw Jared Goff press. And I feel like with some of the play calling, with them going away from the run game, they lost a little bit of patience, and they started pressing a little bit to catch up to their game plan. They wanted to get they were in such a hurry to keep the game in a comfortable space, so that they could run their offense the way they wanted to run it, that they started rushing to get back. They started rushing to get back, and when you start rushing to get back, what's the quickest way to do that, Law?
Throwing the ball.
Throw that ball down the field, right? So you fall in love with throwing the ball down the field, and then. Not only that, I think that they made a terrible mistake. And I don't know if this is Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, running backs coach. I don't know who it is. There's no way David Montgomery should have came back and took over that running back 1 position over Jahmyr Gibbs. Wow. No way he should have came back and started that game. Wow. No way he should have came back and been on that field on 3rd downs in the red zone. No way, bro. There's no way. So.
They wanted to bite the kneecaps off,
Hey, man.
And they got bitten.
They got bitten. Because I think this is a Dan Campbell special. We've seen Dan Campbell almost outcoach himself several times. We've seen this now. There's no way, man.
But here's the other counter to like why Washington should be scared of this next game.
Okay.
The Eagles. They ain't gonna allow Hurst to throw this shit.
No.
Down, say, they're gonna be doing like this. And if Jahmyr Gibbs was able to average 7.5 yards per toe,
Saquon about to go crazy.
Saquon, and I checked the last game I saw, even though the Washington was able to pull it out. Shoot, Saquon had almost 200 yards in the first half.
Saquon about to go nuts.
Oh, it's finna be. I hate to say this, but I'm thinking that it's going to be the Eagles. It's going to be the Eagles beating the Washington, and Jayden Daniels, unless they catch lightning in the bottle again, catch the Eagles by surprise, slips, fumbles, or scooping scores or something like that. The unknown,
scrambling and scraping.
I just think that defensively, what they do is great because you get pressure inside the middle. I'm old enough to remember a Cooper Rush and the Cowboys defense beating Jayden Daniels and Kevontae Turpin with the turbo button running it back to seal it all. But it was really taken away before that time frame. In the last game, if it wasn't for Jayden Daniels getting out of there, the Cowboys probably would have beaten them the last game, would have swept the Washington team. So all I can say is that when you have the ability to run the ball and stop the run, or run the ball and play sound defense, it's going to be a long, long day for said team. And that's what the Eagles are able to do. And all Hurts got to do is drive the bus. And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
And let me tell you something. While Hurts driving that bus, Kellen Moore about to get off at the bus stop straight to Dallas.
Yeah.
Because they go to a Super Bowl, brother.
It's over with. Yeah.
It's over with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's over with. Jerry and Steven and company, they'll have every excuse, reason, whatever you want to call it, man, they'll have every reason to bring in Kellen. And there won't be much that we can argue about, because I'm going to be honest, as much as we love the stops and the hitches and all the unless we hate that stuff, the 4 hitches and stuff, to me, Kellen has shown some maturity. In this postseason, and I'm just keeping it in the butt. I still don't want Kellen here. I'm keeping it clear. Still, no Kellen Moore, anybody but Kellen.
Anybody but Kellen.
Again, taking my emotions out of it, leaving room for the facts to overtake the situation. Kellen has shown some maturity because he hasn't put Jalen Hurts in harm's way.
Right.
He has leaned on what's strong with that team, and you've seen him stay with it with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna be honest, the way he's calling the plays, right? I haven't seen, especially yesterday, I didn't see many plays where I felt like the offense was frozen out by the play call before the play ever started. I didn't feel like I saw any plays where if you had a quarterback that understood how to go through his progressions, I didn't see any plays where there wasn't somebody that he could have dumped that ball off to, or there was someone open. Right. Kellen's getting his guys going horizontal across the field a lot more now. And I think that was an issue. Was at first he loved the vertical routes, he loved the comebacks and the hitches and stuff like that. And if it wasn't that, then you just sending them up there on the sideline, right?
Yeah.
Kellen to me, I'm trying. I guess this is me coping a little bit long because I'm reading the tea leaves.
Man, it's sad, but it's true. You know, there's nobody else that can go into the room and have that spontaneity of rapport that he has, right? And be able to grin and say, hey, I remember 8 years, every single coach since Jimmy Johnson been here had some shape, form, or fashion of a relationship with Jerry's. If not, they made sure that they inserted someone with their most influencing power. Think about it. It hit me. I was going through the list of all of the coaches, right? Mm-hmm. When I looked at, of course, you know, we can look at Barry Switzer. They had relationship back in Arkansas. And then if you look at what they did with Shane Gailey, he was promoted from that roster, right? And then from roster, you had Dave Campo. He was promoted from within or what have you to be the next head coach there, the 5-11, 5-11, 5-11. And then it hit me. They went and got a Bill Parcells, right? But guess who they was forced to have also?
Who?
I'm going to play his sound bite right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Get your up there and contain the damn ball.
They forced Mike Zim on Bill Parcells, right? Wade Phillips. They forced Jason Garrett on Wade Phillips, right? Jason Garrett, when it was time for him to go, and they brought in Wade Phillips 2.0, Mike McCarthy, they forced Kellen Moore on Mike McCarthy. So it's been a continuity of forced coaches within the confines of the locker room or what have you. So whoever's our next coach, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to be somebody who either played for the Cowboys, who normally or coached for the Cowboys, to be back in the building with the Cowboys, because that's the pattern. They don't change their stripes. They are like the zebras. They can't change them, you know. Yeah. And when you look at it and you say to yourself, if Kellen Moore goes to the Super Bowl, right, it would be a no-brainer for them to bring him back, keep him warmed, embraced, win, lose, or draw.
And I mean, and realistically speaking, we wouldn't be able to. It would be hard to offer a real counter argument to kind of, I guess, devalue the move. Because at that point, you got Kellen Moore, boy wonder, a head coach, a potential head coaching candidate under the age of 40, Super Bowl berth, maybe championship under his belt. You're not going to really be able to argue that loss. So I think at this point, like you're saying, I think Cowboys fans, we know our real candidates. Just based off of the history of the Cowboys, our real candidates is Kellen, Aaron Glenn. I do believe Aaron Glenn is probably getting some real interest from the organization. Because again, he's played here. He played under Mike Zimmer.
Yeah.
He played with Tony Romo. Tony Romo gave his stamp of approval for Aaron Glenn on national television.
TV. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I think Aaron Glenn is very much seriously in play. The Lions coaches have already let the organization know, hey, we're leaving. We're not coming back. They let them know already. They literally told them. The report came out yesterday. They literally told them. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn told them, hey, expect us not to be back. We're going to take a job this offseason.
Man.
Okay? Man. So you got that. And then that third candidate, I'm thinking you're looking at someone like maybe a Mike Zimmer or just someone that they're going to already be comfortable with. It's going to be someone that they're already comfortable with. And so all the outside candidates and stuff, we might as well let that go. I think at this point, Cowboys fans really need to expect Kellen. Prepare for Kellen.
Or the breaking news like of this morning, like Brian Schottenheimer, you know. Plus, they just interviewing him today, or I guess this week for what, you know.
Bro,
just stretch it out.
There's no way in my mind that I believe that Jerry seriously thinks that Brian Schottenheimer is a real candidate for this job.
Right.
There's no way. I think that they're just doing interviews at this point.
Oh, this is what they're doing. Are you comfortable with Kelly Moore being your head coach? because people are moving that way. Because the Cowboys do everything backwards. We get out like normally a coach go in and say, okay, these are my staff. These are the guys that I hire. This is my running backs coach. This is my tight end coach. This is my O-line coach or what have you. But the Cowboys, they do it backwards because we already heard news about DeMarco Murray, Tashard Choice, strong candidates to being running backs coach.
Yeah, how you doing a running back coach but you ain't got the head coach?
Yeah, look, so this is a clear move that Jason Witten was on the phone saying, hey, Tashard, hey, look, I got this opportunity. Let me know. Hit me back when you get a chance. Hey, DeMarco Murray, hey, we played together, man. I know I got your voicemail, but hit me up, man. I got a coaching opportunity for you. And I think that Jason Witten is already – look, I'm thinking that the coaching staff is already assembled. They just going to put that last piece on, which would be Kellen Moore, and they are trying to lobby. They're trying to lobby this thing with Robert Saleh.
Have we heard anything about Al Harris? Like
nothing. Not a thing.
Yeah, is his contract like I know his contract? All the assistant coaches' contract expired and stuff, right? Was his included in that?
Yeah, I think so. Because if not, because I was thinking, technically he's the assistant head coach, and so when the head coach gone, he's got to be the head coach now, right? But they're telling me that his contract was ceased, you know.
Oh man.
And Bones Fossil too, you know, Bones, you know. So, I don't know whoever's going to be the coach in waiting. I think that they already assembling the staff together to fit their particular mold. And for those who say, Law, it wasn't a good interview. Normally when your interviews are short, them good interviews.
Nah, real talk.
Them good interviews, man.
Kellen had a 2-hour-long interview with the Cowboys, bro.
It was listed for 3 hours, right? So when it's short, you know, maybe, hey, man, I know you, go kick ass, but, hey, we like what you did in the interview. We can't wait to see, you know, how all of this fold out, but stay near your phone, that type of conversation, you know, wink, wink.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and lay out the path to the future before we get up off here. I know you got to get up out of here. How do you get past the Dak Prescott thing? For one, you deal with it for at least the next 3 seasons. Right. So you might as well get that out your mind. You're going to be dealing with Dak here for at least the next 3 seasons, but I think over the course of those 3 seasons, you draft a quarterback every season in the later round.
Mm-hmm.
Every season, you draft a quarterback in the later round, and then the closer you get towards the end of that contract, you start seeing if you could draft a quarterback maybe a little bit higher. If you still haven't found somebody that you feel like it can be the incumbent. Me personally, I feel like a dream scenario, but this would take us having to suck.
Break it down.
I want Arch here. After that goal, dog. I want Arch.
Oh, my gosh.
I want Arch, but we would have to be trash, poo cheese, or some kind of major trade would have to happen, but I think Arch, man, that would be the perfect Dallas Cowboy quarterback of the future, man. I think
that would be the best thing for a quarterback in waiting. You know, what year he's going to be?
I think he's draft eligible after next year. I think he probably will come out in 2 seasons. Let me see.
I hate to say this though, but we don't lose enough.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't lose enough. Even through the Dave Campo era, we missed out on the Peyton Mannings and the and we missed out on the Michael Vicks of the world because we won too much. 5-11. There's too many wins to be able to get those kind of caliber guys. And the Cowboys, the last time we did win the Super Bowl is when we drafted a quarterback in the first round. But I will say this though. out of this draft, if you want to take a little sneak at a late round draft pick, look up Jackson Dart. You know, I think that he can be a guy that you can groom to fill in. The whole Shador Sander thing. He'll be a good guy too, but you got to get him before the 4th round. I think some of these guys may fall to the 4th, but we don't have a 4th round draft pick. Yeah,
we don't have a 4th round draft pick.
Mingo, Mingo. You know,
Mingo.
And not to say that, you know, Dak Prescott is a spring chicken, but he is 30 to 31 years of age.
Yeah,
so
come on, man.
So come
what
on.
What we talking about?
What we
talking about?
What we doing?
What are we doing, man? Hey, what are we doing here? But no, man, look. It's been a good one, my brother. You already know how we about to end this joint, bro.
Yeah.
We about to end this joint. Go ahead, run that mug up for me.
Yeah, baby.
We stink.
Still.
The same old Cowboys.
Boys.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Go ahead, Pastor.
Come on with it. Come on, sing it. Sing it, y'all. Come on with it.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.